Welcome to everybody, and I'm excited to just give a little intro before we get started on each lesson of Faith Foundations and Dr. Jim Richards' teaching on Hebrews 5 and 6 in the foundations of our faith. And I want to go over some of this intro because there's some key and important things that he says. And, we've taught this course for over 20 years, and it's especially rich in giving you the whys behind the course. Because, there's a lot of things in our belief systems that jive and connect and we relate to one another, but people come from so many different church backgrounds, and here we are, a little melting pot. And this is so good because you don't have to agree on everything, but there are some key things that you do want to agree on. And we ask people in our church family to go through this course because it helps us get on the same page. People do things for different reasons. And so through this, this is going to be a foundation for your life and ministry. And even though you think when you hear faith foundations, oh, I got this, I know about that, there's really so many things in Hebrews 5 and 6 when it's all expounded on. You'll be surprised, things you didn't know that are really foundational that you might have overlooked. So, we had a missionary couple that are now in Kenya serving God. They came into our church after being believers for a long time. And they went through this, and it was life-changing and transformational for them. So I believe it can be that way for you. So again, we don't have to agree on everything, but these are some key things. Some people, it's not important whether you believe once saved, always saved, but you can lose your salvation. If it were really important, the Bible would have majored on it. Those are not important issues for people who want to walk with God. But the Bible does tell us these foundations of faith. They are the foundations of the new covenant. And there's only 6. If we agree on these, then we're going to agree on the essentials that are important. And Jim shares this. He says the first reason that we encourage people to go through foundations of faith is consistency of message. And the second reason is because reading the word builds faith in you. It's mistakenly taught that just reading the Bible will bring faith. That's not true. That's not what it teaches, but you will find if you believe in the gospel of peace, that God has made peace with us through Jesus' finished work. That's fundamental. That people often think that's going to give you faith if you just read the word, but it's really reading the word, reading and understanding the gospel of peace is where your faith is coming from. So the third reason for going through this is so you don't become a manipulator. So many people come into church from all walks of life and they're bringing their baggage with them. And this is going to make sure whatever you do in your life or ministry, you're doing it for the right reason. And you know what? You're doing it for the reasons that you say, that's on your heart. If a pastor can help you, launch you into the things that are desires of your heart where the Lord's leading you. So people often come to the church from other churches, and when they come to our church, they don't know how to function because we're not manipulating. I'm just challenging you to do what you say you want to do, not for my reasons. So we don't coerce people and we don't use guilt to get people to do things. For those of you who will one day want to be teachers or leaders, we want you to know that there's a way to do it other than guilt or pressure. The fourth reason for going through this course is you won't be able to implement messages that you hear if you don't have a foundation with grace and peace. If you are not firmly established in the fact that God can love you no matter what kind of problems arise, and they will, you can't really apply the message you'll hear. You'll choke on them, or you'll get so hung up you'll be condemning yourself. And that won't help either. People get stuck and paralyzed and don't move forward if you do that. The fifth and most important reason, you'll be established in the love walk. You know, people often talk about the love walk of the Christian, and they're always thinking about how they should love other people. Well, we're saying, first and foremost, you need to get established in how much God loves you. And as you're established in that, then the importance of love being the priority in life of the believer means you have the capacity to walk in love, and that it's more important than being right or proving your point. Walking in love is more important than most of our priorities. So first, it's knowing that God loves you, then you can love other people. So that's the 5 main reasons we provide this class. Everything you believe should be evaluated by guiding principles and truths. Many times we believe things in the epistles. We find things in the epistles where we turn on Christian TV and something's denying the very finished work of Christ, and they're putting it back on a performance, and it's an upside down message. And we're trying to get people established in how much God loves you first. He loved you first. Then you can love God. And out of it's going to come your service to him. And many years ago, because this made such an impact on me, I remember sending a beautiful picture I found of a lighthouse. I think it was like a poster or something. I sent it to Dr. Jim Richards for his birthday because of this very thing. He says, we have 3 guiding lights that determine truth. The first is the gospel. Several years ago, I was sitting in a meeting and a man was speaking, and as he taught, he began to emphasize how the New Testament should focus mainly on the epistles for doctrine. And when he said that, I felt the Spirit say to me, if you try to use the epistles as an anchor for what you're believing, you'll deny the gospel. Measure everything you find in the epistles by the gospels. How often do you hear messages where the doctrine of the message denies the way Jesus treated people? Look how Jesus treated women, spotlighted them, esteemed them, honored them. Jesus did not vote to kill the woman found in adultery. He did not advocate accepting tradition as a way to stay secure with God. There are many things he taught, did, and ways that he treated people that we extract doctrine from. The epistles deny those things. So we are not to look at the gospel from a mere theological point, but in light of how Jesus treated and related to people. And that might sound like a mouthful to you, but this was a turning point in my life when I started seeing how Jesus treated people, when I was even reading the Gospels, and it started putting the puzzle pieces together. The second guiding point is we have the foundations of faith. In other words, when we find something we think is a revelation in the epistles, I have to look at it and ask, is this consistent with the way Jesus treated and handled people? Then I have to ask if it's consistent with what the Bible identifies as the 6 foundations of faith that we're going to get into. And so this guiding light that I told you about, the poster, 2 guiding lights, which is a lighthouse, is better than 1. You can have 1 guiding light and think you're on track, but you'll run into rocks because you're coming in sideways. 2 guiding lights are better than 1, but if you can line up 3 guiding lights, then you've got no fear of shipwreck. So the third and most important guiding light is the cross of Christ. What does the Bible clearly teach happened through the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus? Everything hinges on that. All of history. Doesn't it say in Colossians that everything revolves around him? Everything revolves around Jesus, not us. And this is so beautiful, that the finished work of Christ and what that means to us. So these are the 3 guiding points for believing. In this class, we help you establish guiding points so you can take what you believe and ask if it lines up with these 3 points. We're not going to make that decision for you. That's your decision. That's why we don't labor in the non-essentials. We labor on the essentials, these foundations. And I think it will be something you'll come back to. And as we go through this content of this course, you can go through and fill in the blanks, underline what, if you've got the book, you can order the book through our website or through contacting us for $10. But this will be a blessing to your life. This is something you can take a whole home group through or a Bible study over the course of a couple months. But we're giving you these sessions all in one shot today, and I know you'll be greatly blessed by them.